Hello everyone, welcome to the first Global Game Jam session in 2021 and happy Independence Day for people who are watching from Sri Lanka and a kind of a holiday here in Bhagya. So meet Bhagya, he's from Sweden and he actually joined last time as a mentor fireside chat also. So you may have seen him. So welcome and I would like to give you introduction to yourself. So you can actually do better than me.
Okay. To begin with, you guys probably have seen me presenting at one of the Unity meetups some time back. But let me begin. So this is me, Bhagya Silva. I'm working as a CTO in a software company in Stockholm, in Sweden. And I'm quite interested in terms of like gaming as to what it will be in the future. And I've also tried to keep myself updated with what's going on related to the technology side of things. And my primary specializations are in terms of like in backends work, so scalable platforms and backends. Yeah. So back to Chatur.
Yeah, cool. So what I'm actually going to talk about is about the present trend and what will be in the future also. Isn't that Bhagya? Yeah.
Yeah, so what we will be doing is we will try to go through some of the topics that are quite hot right now. And we will also like to have some time, sort of like a discussion around how you will be able to capitalize on
Kind of
those.
a discussion with you. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you are going to provide back, I think that we'll be able to catch them and put them in the chat. If not, we'll try to figure out a way where we get the input from you so we can have this more in an interactive manner. Because the presentation is structured mostly around the high-level topics. So we will not be going into very much specifics here, but it would be nice to talk specific if you want to. So, yeah. So, Chatur,
Thanks, Praneeth. Yeah, Praneeth is working with us. Yeah, sure. Let's begin. I will join with some discussion.
Okay, awesome. So, as I said earlier, we will be talking a bit about the present trends in gaming in terms of like genres, platforms, and also a bit of development. And we will also try to guess some stuff that might be potential game changers in the future, and also places where there is not many players right now, as in developers. So it is important to identify those because that's where you can mostly have a bigger impact as small game developers. And we will also try to have like a quick break at the end and also in between the sessions where we will be able to brain jam a bit about each of these topics and the presentation as a whole. Yeah, so let's get started then. So when you see these two pictures side by side, or other, one is an animated GIF, you'll probably you quickly understand that these are probably going to talk about like virtual reality. And the right side, you might think, well, I don't know what that is. So, but let's get to it. So what was represented on those images were about virtual reality. The idea of virtual reality actually isn't something very new. It was about mostly creating an immersive environment for the player. And the first games that actually did this were text-based virtual reality games. And some of them are still available today. So if you have played games like Dungeon or AI Dungeon on mobile, and games such as Reigns, it's like a card game where you're required to be a part of like a entirely created world. but where your mind is transported into that world, but so you're operating in that context. That's something we could call VR as well, and that type of VR were known and is still known as text-based VR. So, but in today's situations, most of the time we talk about immersive VR. And the immersive VR, we can also call it like IMVR, mostly requires special hardware to play. And it's also easy to develop for immersive VR. And that also presents an interesting opportunity for most indie developers, where they can develop games with a lot less amount of ads and without a much bigger story, because the environment provides a lot of the gameplay experience, right?
Yeah. So when it comes to these days, we are Bhagya, yeah, sorry to break you up in the middle. So what do you think about the rising of the standalone headsets? I think you got one recently.
Yeah, in fact, I do. Like, I got like the Oculus Quest here. So the Quest 2.
That's a Quest 2, right? There's
Yeah.
a planning also Quest 3 also now.
Yeah, so there will be like a big amount of discussion going on around like the Oculus, sorry, in terms of like a virtual reality, because there's also some talk about Apple planning to enter the VR industry in this year. And there's just probably going to be a headset that will be released as a precursor to their AR stuff. But we will get talk about AR much later during the presentation. But the Oculus is also known as like one of the more consumer-friendly virtual reality experiences. So
yeah, they're trying to get more consumers into the VR platform with providing kind of a cheap alternatives and cheap solutions to enter the VR arena. It's about $299, right? The starting price of the Oculus Quest 2.
Yes. So this one would be around. Let me quickly check. That one is around. Around $400, I think. If the base model starts from like 350, I think. It comes like, as for the device itself, it comes in like 2 different storage options with
64 GB and 256, I think. Yeah,
correct. Yes. So since these are independent headsets, that they don't have to be connected to the computer to run. They
but
tend
it
to
also
be
coming with the cable that you can actually connect it also to play the PC VR, I think, the games.
Yes, so you can connect it with a USB-C cable to your computer, and or you can also use the Oculus Link cable to connect, and then you can play PC VR games.
Yeah, I just checked the US. I just checked the US pricing is 64 GB is 299 USD, and 256 is actually 399 USD.
Yeah, okay. Then I think it's cheaper in US.
Cool.
I think it's extremely easy to develop Oculus. I have seen some people going through tutorials, because everything is first person in when you're developing for VR. So you don't have to really think about how your character mechanics. You don't have to think about how would you rig your the primary character. Because it's the Oculus SDK and other VR developer tools provide you with those stuff. So the primary investment you would have to make is basically to get a headset and then sign up for the Oculus developer platform, and then you will be able to start developing. But one thing is that you would have to have like your Facebook account linked to it. So you should be careful about using your private one that are at likely get risk of getting banned. So you have to get your most well-behaved account connected with that. So
yeah. They recently had supported to having multiple devices to same account. Previously, it doesn't exist. So if you get two devices for your home, you need to have two Facebook accounts. Now it's kind of okay.
Yeah, it used to be like the earlier it was like you had to connect with the Oculus account, but with the Quest 2, they decided, okay, you need to use Facebook. And as a user myself, I find it to be an interesting choice because when you start using it, you feel like most of the futuristic experiences on Oculus are likely going to be social experiences, and in such experiences, you would need to feel safe as a community. So you wouldn't want people sort of like abusing the platform or
Yeah. So
abusing others. And that's a good way that you're linking your real world behavior with the
so
virtual one.
yeah. So they actually, I think, planning on having more social VR experiments.
Yeah. So in Oculus, you can already now go to virtual concerts with people around the world. And like I use an Oculus application called Big Screen VR, where I can load movies and then watch it inside the VR, but you would actually see it in the size of an actual theater. So that is pretty awesome. And you have applications like Netflix and stuff that are also built using gaming engines, but you get to choose like a lot bigger TV to watch. And what's also cool is that it's a 6D headset, which means it also tracks your location related to your space. Which means that in games feels even more immersive. You
Yeah.
can use, yeah.
It's not like previous Vive headsets that you need to have room scale devices set it up to have the tracking.
Yes, you don't need, it is room scale VR, but you don't need tracking markers positioned around the room. So that's also contributed to it being one of the most popular headsets of all time.
Yeah, there's a things happening in the UK. So many posts around there that stock is already over out of stock is currently having it in the UK.
Yeah, it was actually quite difficult to get your hands on one, even in Sweden. There was like order backlog. You had to wait for a bit and then have it. And for this presentation itself, I did the brainstorming within a virtual VR space, as you would say. So you might have, if you have been an enthusiast in terms of like VR, you might have seen tools like the Google's Tilt Brush, where you are able to draw and create stuff in the VR space. So I was able to use a new tool that was allowing me to draw the stuff and make connections between different topics within a 3D space instead of doing like a 2D sketch.
Like a 3D mind map.
Exactly. So I should be able to share it. I exported it, but I couldn't add it to the presentation. But maybe I will try to do one later. Maybe completely VR, where we'll be able to see how we can build productivity tools in terms
Yeah, we
of.
got a comment from Fubudu.
Oh yeah, that's actually an interesting one. The Sherlock's Mind Palace. There seems to be like a company that actually built that, so you can build your own Mind Palace in VR with that. But it's only a PC VR game, so you have to have it hooked up to your computer that's running Windows.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's
And
interesting.
one more thing that you mentioned about Google, what you call that drawing part,
The Tilt
Tilt
Brush.
Brush.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Tilt Brush is actually open source. It's available in GitHub, and they actually built it using Unity, and you can actually download it and clone it, and just press around and see how it's actually built up.
Yeah. So the Tilt Brush is actually open source, and I think the publishing library also, they made it open source recently. earlier it was like a purchase on the Oculus store. You had to pay like $20 to get Tilt Brush, but now you can compile it yourself and deploy, I think.
Yeah.
That's cool. And also you can, additional stuff include, you can have virtual desktops. So if you are using a Windows computer, you can have your computer, but in the virtual space, like surrounded with like 6 displays, and you can feel like Batman if you want to. So quite interesting experiences, and real world uses, most of all, to add to be interesting. Yeah. And as for the low latency assets I mentioned, most of the current independent VR titles, they don't have very detailed assets, and the reason is that they have to optimize them in order to maintain the FPS to a level that the headset can deliver without causing problems to the users. Right. So I think we covered that, the multiple applications beyond gaming here as well. So you have concerts, you have VR productivity tools. There's a lot of opportunities to build awesome new stuff on the VR platforms. So give me a moment. So for just to highlight how VR has grown recently, one of the popular games on VR is like called Beat Saber. It's a European studio that has built this, and in 2019 they had a revenue of $20 million, and in 2020 they had a revenue of $67 million. So more than 3 times. And Beat Saber is a fairly simple game. If you want to build a clone of Beat Saber, it would probably take like 3 days. So it's not a very complicated game, but the gameplay mechanics and the just being there, I think helps the company quite a bit to reach that level of revenues. So
it's really addictive.
Yes, and it's really fun and addictive, as you mentioned. And there's also like you can play in social environment setups as well, so where you play with 6 other or Beat Saber players around the world in real time. And there's also fitness applications where you can work out in VR. So one of those are called FitXR and Supernatural. Those games are subscription based. Actually, you have to pay around like $20 a month to have VR gym experiences. And given this situation with the pandemic and people staying home, these companies that provide these virtual experiences are really in a position where they can grow really quick. So if you haven't explored VR, and if you have like a really great idea for a game that you can build, you should be able to build it quickly, and you should be able to monetize it fairly easily. And just to add, like I've seen there was this Pakistani studio that built a cricket game, so you can actually play cricket in VR. Like you can use the controllers, like you get like 2 of these, and you use the controllers to you can either attach it to like a real bat. These controllers track their position in the 3D space, so you can actually like hold it like a real bat if you are attaching it to a real bat, and then play it in the VR space. But of course, you have to be careful. There's a lot of videos of people crashing into televisions and living room furniture on VR. So watch out for that if you do happen to get one.
And we got another comment.
Oh yeah, so cycling in VR. Yes, but that would we will be getting to that later during the presentation. So that will be going into most of the side where we call mixed reality, where the real world objects are and the actuators are sensors are. working in side to side with virtual worlds. Okay, Chatu, do you have anything to add here?
Oh, I think I actually covered most of the VR, right? We had a kind of a good discussion about that one.
Yeah. So let's see what we have next. So this is what this is Pubudu, I think, on the right. Happy wants to say, I think it's a much safer option than riding a bicycle in Sri Lankan roads, I think. He's about that before. On the left, you will see a Magic Leap device, which is an augmented reality holographic projection device. What we wanted to discuss here was the mixed reality. So the idea of mixed reality is that you're merging the real world and the virtual worlds together, right? So this mixed reality is application of I could say that it would be able to include the virtual reality as well, but it's usually everything else except the virtual reality. Because virtual reality, you are still within your boundaries of your room. So there's a actual real world part in it, and you are subject to the real world gravity and other forces. But in terms of like a mixed reality, you will be able to experience augmented experiences, and you would be able to interact more with your real world compared to what you would get with virtual reality. It's a bit of a vague definition where you have the mixed reality, because it's an umbrella term where we describe everything that covers from real world environment to the virtual environment. So the applications of mixed reality, they include stuff like education. They also include training, remote work, and healthcare. And especially companies like Google, they have been experimenting with these technologies before. If you can recall, like in 2012, there was Google Glass that was introduced as a way to augment your current vision with virtual or rather augmented displays. And today you will find like motorcycle helmets that have augmented reality vision, where they project a display into your glass, where you get additional information on your route and stuff like that. And the most recently, there was Glasses by Note that was acquired by Google that provided a similar augmented experience. And there's also some discussion that Apple might be able to introduce a new wearable that provides augmented reality. And to add,
I remember that Google Glass project, that it was actually beyond its time. So we had actually experienced and have a chance to develop and three projects, me and Pasi doing, when we got about one headset in Sri Lanka at that time to try about, and there were about only 3 headsets or 4 available whole in Sri Lanka. Yeah, but not good. Just Google just vanished that one. But let's see what.
Yeah,
it's like a Kinect from Microsoft. It was also beyond its time.
Yes. So for Google Glass, I think the future, I think it's already sold now, but for businesses. So they have like an enterprise version for Google Glass for people who work with warehouses and stuff, where they will be able to get much information in a much easier manner. But to add, it's not just about the wearables as well. You have to also think that these experiences of mixed reality that include the augmented reality are already on your devices, such as your phone. So if you take your phone, you should be able to have like the augmented reality experiences with the latest versions of Android and iOS. And you might have seen like on the newer iPhones and the iPads, they actually have like this sensor.
The
Where,
LID app.
yeah, so they have like a LiDAR sensor where it can accurately measure your room environment and provide a better detailed 3D environment for the application to process. So it's only going to get better. So again, as indie developers, and you will have a first mover advantage if you are able to create something for these platforms, because especially because there's not many players out there in the market. Players as in marketplace, not the actual players. The number of actual market is in millions and about to reach a billion soon. But but the number of companies and people who provide augmented reality experiences are quite limited. So if you're a small studio, then you can create your own name in this space. If you move.
Yeah, I will add the Microsoft Halo headset to this category. So
Yes.
it's very famous and it's actually applicable in most of the enterprise applications are currently running on.
Yeah, I actually use the Halo headset as well. There's probably a picture of me wearing one on Instagram. But I found it to be interesting, but it had like a very small field of view. So the view was like this much. So you have to be always looking in front
Around.
to get the Halo, the HoloLens Microsoft experience. Yeah, but now we will have more. We will continue to have like better experiences. I think you also mentioned earlier when we were preparing for this, there was the Magic Leap.
Magic Leap.
Yeah, so they also had this wonderful experience. It was not in the market yet, but they were preparing for one.
And to add it, Magic Leap actually have special funding, I think, for the developers. They actually going to help you around if you have a good idea. So check them around too.
Yeah, and especially like if you're like a startup, then it would be really helpful to partner up with such a company, because they want to be able to, especially when they're launching a new platform, they want new ideas and people who are curious enough to reach out to them and explore the platform. So yeah, so do reach out to Magic Leap. If Apple reach, I don't think Apple will, but they already have the developer tools for you already.
Yeah.
If you have like Xcode, you should be able to get started with creating augmented reality experiences, and you will be actually be there on day one when they actually do the release for the their headsets someday. Yeah. So for Android, I think Unity also provides AR platform. I think Chatu can correct me on that.
Yeah, so Unity have a package called AR Foundation. AR Foundation is actually a kind of a wrapper built top of AR Kit and AR Core both. So you don't need to write different applications to AR Core separately and one for the AR Kit. If you use AR Foundation, it's actually do all the abstraction and give you a fine-tuned API to work around. So just write once and deploy in both platforms.
Yeah. So as for VR and mixed reality, both experiences, I think Unity got you covered. So if you, since this GGG is hosted by the Unity developers, I think there will be more people who will be able to pick that up and run with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next part. So what is that? So then you have cross reality. So once again, this is not the augmented reality. Cross reality is an environment where you are actually interacting with the real world with the virtual world with real sensor and actuator networks. So real actuators means something, a physical motor or some sort of like a mechanical system that can give you the same feeling as you would feel in terms of the virtual world that you are in. And cross reality is getting popular. Also, it's not there yet. It's I would say it's in the quite the early stages for most regular applications, including gaming. But it is an interesting space where you'll be able to explore. And if you looked at the earlier slides where we discussed about the healthcare and training and remote work related stuff, once again, cross reality is going to be reliable. What you will be able to do as developers, you can start creating new experiences where you can connect to your game development SDKs and control real world machines, or what do you call it, actuators. So the players will start feeling the same experiences. So one of these is, you can see this is kind of like a VR treadmill, and it is able to give you the experience of actual running, but you will be in the VR world. Yeah,
There will be very useful use cases with, there will be some kind of a use cases with code like this, playing your code like this, and
the cross reality code would be awesome. Right now, there's actually for virtual reality side of things, where we have there's a title called Population One on Oculus, where you are able to run around like it's a battle royale game, and you're able to battle royale in the virtual space, and it's pretty awesome, and people are really addicted to it. The game itself is quite new, but I think they reach a very large number of players within a very short time, because there was 0 battle royale games earlier. So now it's yeah, but it's there. It's just that we will have to wait and see, or we have to build the feature ourselves.
Yeah.
Awesome. So this is
This is the thing why I'm interested.
yes. This is one topic I think Chatu wanted to especially get into. So when you see these games, you probably know what we are talking about. But I wanted to get this out there, and still keep you hopeful that you can make a hit in this space even today. So and that is hyper casual games. So the properties of hyper casual is tend to be they're usually easy to play games, and very often they are provided for free. They are available as a free download for users. And for developers, they are easier to build, but it's also difficult to get it right. So that's why there are so many games, but there's only so much that games that have really succeeded in this space. Some of the mechanics of the hyper casual games include these timing games where you have to complete a task within a short given time. Games that require you to be agile, so they focus on your agility, and then puzzle for puzzle solving skills. Swerve means the games such as the Aqua Park, Chatu was earlier mentioning. And then there are also games that have a social angle to it. And then the games that are like Candy Crush, where you merge a set of elements together. The social An example would be like Among Us, for example, one of those social, a hyper casual game with a social angle, easy to play. And the hyper casual games are typically easier to monetize as well, because you can give the game for free, and you can make your money by either having advertisements while you're doing the gameplay, or you can do in-app currencies, or you can say pay to unlock certain parts of the game.
And
So-
most of the revenue is actually coming from what we called
Right.
revenue ads. So
Yeah.
the reward ads, sorry. So most of the time it's actually getting the reward ads parts going on.
Yeah.
And most of the revenue actually coming from the first revenue ad. So when you download the game and the first reward ad actually you play is get the most amount of money to come to you.
Yeah. Chatu, give me a moment.
Yeah, sure. We got a kind of a technical difficulty with the camera, but totally fine. I think we can have a little bit of chat till that. So if you have any questions, please free to add out. Yeah, you got it back.
Yeah. Okay. Once again, give me a second.
So if you have any questions that we actually talked about VR and mixed reality and XR. So if you have any questions from these things and the things that we are discussing is hyper casual games, so feel free to add it into comments so we can actually help you around or can actually make it back to as a discussion.
Yeah.
Cool. We are back.
Okay. So some of the examples for hyper casual games are, I've listed some. One of the early ones was the Breakout, Pong, and most people they see the Pac-Man, and I apologize for the spelling mistake there. It has to be Pac and Tetris. And today's modern games, they are like a Candy Crush. In 2012, around that time, Draw Something was a very big hit, and of course the Flappy Bird that was like one of the more recent successes of
the Candy Crush is like most probably going for casual games, and when it comes to hyper casual also, this kind of things that we did is actually having a very limited number of game mechanics, like one, and the game should be about development time should be about maximum 1 week. So if the developers are in here who is interested for challenge to build a small game in 1 week and publish, this is the hyper casual market.
Yeah, the Candy Crush actually falls under the merge mechanics in terms of like hyper casual games. I think it's also now bundled with the Windows as the built-in games, like the earlier competition was like Minesweeper and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and another one to add this into here is Crossy Road is also get a kind of a very good fan base coming up. Very simple graphics, like what do you call it, vertex? Yeah, it's like a small boxes with the designs, simple graphics. Cool. So shall we move to next one, or are we going to talk about more in hyper casual?
I think we can go to the next one. If there's no other questions. Yeah. So then we have this, and you obviously know what this means. The first one, of course, the favorite game and the biggest hit game, I think, in terms of the pandemic, was also the Animal Crossing from Nintendo.
And they got a special Nintendo box with coming with that. Just Animal Crossing.
Yes, you could buy the Animal Crossing edition game for Animal Crossing Nintendo edition.
And they went out of stock
Yes.
during the pandemic.
This is my Switch, and yeah, so most people actually bought the Nintendo Switch to play Animal Crossing because it gave an experience for most people. Give me a moment.
So Nintendo is actually have the both support to get it as a console where you can cast it to the TV and play, and or you can actually use it as a standalone one with your two hands. And yeah, very very addictive gameplay mechanic, gameplay device.
Yes, and one of the cool things about that is like most of the Nintendo games are really polished at the time of release. So that's something most console players don't get.
Yeah, it's very hard to join as a Nintendo developer. You need to go through a very vetting process. They will check about the graphics and the quality of the studio and what are the previous titles you have done and what is your idea is going on there and how much you actually focus on the special features coming from the Nintendo itself. So it is kind of very hard to be a kind of a be a studio for publishing the Nintendo.
Yes, and their own titles themselves are also quite good. So they're keeping a tight control of their platform, and it also means that people can buy it for their kids without worrying about the quality or glitches or stuff like that. Yeah. So as we were talking, the trend we saw and the trend we are seeing right now is one of those is the social simulation games. And one of the reasons that the social simulation games have become so popular is due to the pandemic. People desire more social interactions that they miss in real world through the virtual worlds. So life simulation games where you explore social interactions between multiple lives have become quite popular. So the games such as the Animal Crossing, The Sims, where you need a community of players to emulate or control a virtual character that is having its own life that is in sync with the real world time. It's also yeah, interesting. The game Among Us was also quite a hit this year, and it falls in both social simulation games as well as hyper casual games. The way I see it, because in Among Us you still get that connection with the people, and you have to make sure that your character survives, or you have to get kicked. So
yeah, it's kind of because of the social aspect of it that I think it became kind of a hit. Because you need many friends around it to play it and get the total fun out of it.
Exactly. So it's not something you will be able to enjoy by your own. And these social simulations games have some interesting challenges when it comes to implementations. For example, like how would you make sure that the game is able to deal with that level of scale? Like what if millions of players are connecting at one time to a same virtual world? So games such as the Animal Crossing, they sort of like employ these concepts of islands where you travel from one island to another, and you're only in reality you're interacting with a very small subset of users at a given time, even though everyone is connected in the same universe. And the social simulation games don't end just there. There's also the Facebook Oculus Quest has social simulation environments where you can talk with people, you can hang out, and you can also play games online together. So pretty much a simulation of the real world, but within the VR world. So yeah, so that's also a trend. It's a bit challenging to build something on this genre, but as Among Us have shown, it's not impossible to do it with a limited budget. So if you're thinking of something new, I would actually think it's nice to think about these genres as well. Chatu, do you have anything to add here?
It's kind of, I think this is the way that Facebook also pushing these days to get the more of the social interactivity around VR and all these games back. And they actually moved a really good effort to have Facebook videos with gaming. So they actually have creator studios for gamers to do streaming, and they try to actually get all this social aspect to the game streamers as well. And also YouTube is actually also focusing on getting the specific games out of and giving them good light out and shout out to the game streamers. So to make it more social and playable with others. So these are the players actually who are actually trending these days, and they're trying to push it around. So it was kind of a Twitch who went handling that part, then they got more competitors out of it.
Yeah, the social side of games have really picked up like over the last couple of years, where you have like people, even though they don't play, they will try to engage and make decisions for the actual player who's streaming. And recently, we'll get to that in the next topic.
And also, I think Ready Player One from I think Steven Spielberg that actually created this hype around it. After
Right.
the movie published, people actually got about this gaming and people who actually focused on gaming and the sports part of it.
Yeah, actually, there's now SDKs that where you can integrate into your game, where you'll be able to let the community or like your viewers can decide what you should play next. So let's say Chatu is streaming his game. Chatu can, when he's prompted with options to select, he can let the SDK, he can connect these viewer input SDKs, and then the viewers will make the decisions for Chatu, for example. So Chatu is merely watching and letting the viewers take over for some decisions.
Yeah, I think Discord also have a kind of API that's exposed for them to integrate with the games.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I think the most recent one I saw was with the Stadia. So they had this new SDK component where you can integrate the gamers will the viewers of your stream will be able to make the decisions for you.
That is the most awaited topic. I think we have time to discuss about Stadia in the next slides. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So now let's see if we can go to the next one.
Yeah.
So yeah. So here we are talking about not what you think, but we are talking about cloud gaming platforms. Unfortunately, this is
not about the hypes.
Yeah.
Not about the hype.
Correct. So this is unfortunately not available in Sri Lanka yet, but it's one of the trends that are really changing up the gaming landscape around the world, where you have unlimited internet and good connectivity. That is cloud gaming platforms. The key feature of the cloud gaming platform is that the games are stored and run on hardware that's owned or operated by a service provider. And also, what's cool about this is that your games can be run now on thin clients. So you can play a AAA game on your mobile phone with just no additional hardware that is related to rendering. But the caveat here is that you would need better connectivity and servers to play these games and maintain the proper latency for the game to be effective. The earlier versions of cloud gaming was done using Windows virtualized environments where you would rent a machine and connect to it with the remote desktop, and then you would play the game. And you would only be sending the keystroke upstream, and then your game was actually streamed downwards from the remote environment. So, but now we have a few options for cloud gaming platforms, starting with the NVIDIA. NVIDIA has published this platform called the GeForce Now. And of course, Google has Google Stadia, which I have some experience with. And after Google Stadia was out, Amazon launched their own cloud gaming platform called Amazon Luna. So all three of these major cloud gaming platforms, they are they allow you to stream your game from anywhere in the world to your device. And these cloud gaming platforms are most of them, they have their own controllers and hardware. So you would your hardware would connect to the servers directly. So here I have like one of my Stadia controllers, which I use.
Founders Edition.
Yes, this is actually the Stadia Founders Edition controller. That's this one directly connects to the home Wi-Fi, and I am able to stream my games in my Stadia catalog to the TV, or I can also play it on the browser. I can also play AAA titles on my phone if I want to. So one of the most
giving some shout out to Flutter. So Stadia app for both platforms, iOS and Android, is actually built using Flutter.
Yes, that's correct. So the Stadia app is built with Flutter, and it uses the Chromecast SDK as well. So they are able to create the connection between the controller, the pairing stuff, everything happens with the app.
And also adding it, I think you may also have seen the system is a requirement for the Cyberpunk 2017. So you know how much kind of a amount and the money that you need to spend for PC to get an Cyberpunk ready one. So Bhagya is just playing that Cyberpunk in his phone also.
Yeah, so I was able to I actually paid for it, so I got my copy of Cyberpunk with a promotion that Stadia had. So you buy the game copy and then you get the console for free. So that was a deal you couldn't miss at the time. So they gave you the Stadia controller. I gave it away as a gift, so I don't have it anymore. But you also got like the Chromecast Ultra along with it, and you just paid for the game. And I'm also paying for the Stadia Pro, which gives me 4K gameplay with 5.1 digital surround sound. And
so adding to that one, so about 1 or 2 days ago, we had a kind of a very social heated discussion about Google is shutting down its own game studios who actually trying to produce exclusive to Google Stadia. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, the way I see it is that it's very likely that some studios, they don't want competitors. So it could have come as a condition in one of their sign-up contracts saying that you should not be running your studio if you want our games. It's likely that they might have scored. I cannot tell. I don't work with Stadia, so and I am not an insider who knows stuff. What's going inside Stadia. I know what's published by Google and what's being discussed in the forums. So
they actually, the first news is actually that Google is trying to shut down Stadia, but it's actually not that. So they had to give a statement also.
Yeah, their approach there was, I think, they wanted to be more like GeForce Now. So GeForce Now is a cloud gaming platform by NVIDIA, where the service providers can actually pay NVIDIA to run GeForce Now on their servers. So in the case of Sri Lanka, I think SLT could introduce their own cloud gaming, but what they will be running on the back end would be like GeForce Now. So the telecom provider.
That's good news.
Yes, so I think it will be there soon, and it's not something they will let pass, I think, because the telecom providers, some of them, the major ones, even in Europe, are now launching their own cloud gaming platforms where they can get subscribers, and then they can only pay the licensing fees to GeForce Now and host it on their infrastructure. And it is interesting because on Google Stadia, it's not available everywhere, and you would need the Google data centers close to you in order to run Stadia. So it makes logical sense that Google actually decided to focus more on that because they will be able to build the platform faster if they can sign up the ISPs to host their own games. So Google can probably ship the Stadia appliances to the ISP data centers and then charge a fee for that. And the ISPs will also win customer loyalty because of that reason.
And we will get much kind of less latency because we have the server situated in our own country, so there will be kind of very less latency, anything rather than Singapore or something.
That's correct. So it makes perfect sense because right now Google already has a Stadia in most locations. They have their data centers, but if they want to go worldwide, they would need to get some place to host Stadia, and that means they will likely need support from the ISPs and their data centers. And one of the interesting parts is like, unlike on traditional console gaming, on Stadia, you log in and you switch a game and the game loading is immediate. So what happens is your configuration file is moved around the different virtual machines that run the game. So you don't load the game per se to play, but you just load your configuration to an already running game instance and then start playing. Recently, we had this situation with Cyberpunk. Most people who paid for this console copy of Cyberpunk, they couldn't play until they had to install the first patch. And people who ordered on Stadia, we were able to play on the first minute that it was launched. And there was zero issues for the most part with Cyberpunk. So
and you're also getting the patches also?
Yes, so the Stadia patches do arrive, sometimes a few days later, but we don't see them being installed. It's just when you log in, the game is there, and you hit play, and then you start playing. So it's that simple when you're playing with Stadia. And I hope that it will come to Sri Lanka as well, and that would be a really great opportunity because
so GeForce Now is kind of a way of getting this cloud gaming platform to Sri Lanka, as I see. So it's a really good opportunity.
Yes. I think GeForce Now was there, but now since Google is going to focus more on the platform, since they shut down the studios, they will also be able to be a competitor against GeForce Now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do we have any questions or clarifications on this side of things from the audience?
Not yet. No, not yet.
So just for an example, I can start playing the Assassin's Creed Odyssey on the Stadia. Not sure how it will be able to obtain focus. This says to rotate the device. And I can start playing the Assassin's Creed Odyssey on my phone. And with the Stadia, this runs as a web application. So I am able to control the game using either a connected PS4 controller, or if I had the Stadia controller connected to my Wi-Fi, then I could play on my phone. So this one, the game is not running on the phone. So I had a great battery life if I had to play. And then also I wouldn't have any delays or lag, because the Stadia runs a lot powerful hardware than my phone does. So yeah, so that was a quick example of what the future looks like for most people.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I think we have come to the end of the discussion / presentation. So we can consider this an open time for a few minutes, and then we can wrap up, I think. Chatul, do you have?
So I got a question. So
Yeah, okay.
you talked about Candy Crush, and there are some other games that actually came from Sweden or came from this Scandinavian region. So there are many game studios actually situated in these regions, and there's also master programs and many things that education also available for this game development and all stuff. Why do you think that Sweden and all this stuff should have these games running out? Are they creative? What do you think?
Yes, they are creative. They have the way I see is like it's more how the society is structured. In Sweden, for example, there is no need to how do you put that? You can do what you like, and you can still get paid. I think that's not there in Sri Lanka for the most part, where if you want to get paid, you have to do what gets paid, not what you like.
And yeah, I think most of the revenue actually coming from when it comes to gross revenue from the country is actually coming from game development, right?
It depends. I think like if you look at like CD Projekt Red, last time I checked, it was like the most valued company in the Polish stock market. So it's not from Scandinavia, but that company had been able to grow quite fast and able to achieve that amount of valuation for the company. As in terms of like Scandinavia, there's some stuff like Activision, there's Mojang, that company that built Minecraft, and then of course there's the Candy Crush. There's Supercell from Finland that built the Clash Royale and Clash of Clans franchise.
And adding to it is actually Unity is first built in Denmark, so it's from the Danish developers.
Okay, I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah, and the actual the US actually has the HQ listed as legal HQ, but the real HQ is actually in Copenhagen. So it's one of the really beautiful offices around here.
Yeah. I think it's the social support that they give to the artists that allow them to create more and take bigger risks to create the stuff. And also the weather. It's when it's during the winter, you have a couple of months that there is not much sun, so there's nothing much to do outside. So you would probably stay home and code something.
And very good weather to run servers too, right?
Yes,
not
so
much heat.
if you keep it outside. There's actually some data centers here. They run purely based on the environment temperature cooling. So
we got a question from Pabudu.
The good courses to get into AR/VR development. I think the best way to approach AR/VR is to go Unity way. So if you are able to I'm not advocating for a platform. Just to make it clear, what I'm saying is that Unity has got a lot of different segments covered. So if you do like a basic understanding of Unity, that would give you a good basis for starting any type of mixed reality applications. For AR development, Apple has some tutorials if you wanted to build for where you build for the iOS platforms, and they have some good detailed some good set of tools where you can use to build AR applications.
So I'm going to add a few of the things. I'm actually little bit, disclaimer, I'm little bit biased. I am from Unity side, so yeah. For Unity and all, most of the things, actually, there's a good Coursera course freely available from Unity content. It's for both VR and AR. There's two specializations for this one. So there's about 4 to 8 courses in separate certifications, and you can get complete specialized course for all of these 4. And there's one from Udacity, I think, there's a nano degree program from with support of Google and Unity. There's a nano degree for AR development and VR development both. So this is kind of a very professional setup, and you can get a very professional things. But I recommend to jump into the get a device and do kind of experiments around it. And we got another question.
And also, I think a good set of YouTube resources available on. I cannot remember the name off the top of my head, but some good resources on YouTube I have gone and observed. I have seen and observed that explore AR and VR development topics.
So Suchintana got a question for mobile game developer. What advices can given?
So as if you're developing mobile games, the ones that are related to today's discussion was mostly the augmented reality and the hyper casual and social simulation. Those 3 would be like the more related topics that we discussed today. So I would say if you wanted to be more futuristic about your game development when it comes to mobile, try exploring augmented reality if you haven't done so yet. And also try that's what I can tell you about like the augmented reality side of things, because if you build a good mobile AR experience, when the world turns to actual augmented reality, that's probably going to be coming within this year or the next year, you will be far ahead than most people, because not many people are actually actively thinking about what's coming. They're busy with the present. So there's nothing wrong with being busy with the present, but it's good to know what's coming and be ready for it.
Yeah, because when it comes to AR arena, it's kind of a new way of doing games and all stuff. So very good opportunities available for many creative ideas and many unique ideas, because there are no much things going around it yet.
Yeah.
And for mobile game developer, I also suggesting to joining kind of creating hyper casual games around it. And most probably, if you create any good games around it, you will be kind of approached by publishers too. So if you get a good publisher agreements, it's going to be kind of very big amount from euros or dollars around here. And after that, you get kind of that kind of investment around it. Then you have kind of invest around it to put it into AR development or getting into the VR arena or anything around it.
Yeah. And as for the social game mechanics, try to create new experiences in a minimalistic way. Because if you're like an indie developer, you wouldn't have all the amount of resources to get the assets you want. So you can try to go minimalistic in terms of creating a hyper casual or a social simulation game. So try to
Yeah,
explore
like
the
Crossy Road. Like Crossy Road is very simple game
yes,
graphics.
exactly. So yeah, that's a really good example. And there's also like a lot of
Even
AR and
Minecraft.
oh yeah, like Minecraft was written by just one guy, and so was Crossy Road and Flappy Bird. Unfortunately, none of them are coding anymore. I think. So
They
if
made
you
enough.
like coding, create something awesome. And
And yeah, you can get retirement.
yes, you can retire quickly. And the exploration around social simulation games would be interesting, where you will be able to create like a sense of belonging to players in a virtual world that you are the one that you create. And as a mobile game developer, you have access to one thing you need to understand is that you have access to the biggest number of gamers than any platform imaginable. So the mobile games are where like the users are. Even though we talk about consoles and AAA games and cloud gaming and whatnot, mobile games is where the current users are. So if you can look for the trends and ride the wave, then you should be able to.
The number of
Um,
users who actually use mobile games went really hyped with this COVID situation. So there are many people who actually playing games now.
yeah, yeah, that's true.
So I think yeah, we had actually had a around, yeah, 1 hour and 12 minutes now, right, with this session.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, cool.
So, Chatu, do you have anything to add? So I want to thank everyone for being here today, and I hope I was able to give you some interesting insights and take you a bit into a higher level than your discussions to see what might be coming in the future. And I really hope that as for Sri Lankan developers, you will be able to use this as a great opportunity to create new experiences and make a difference in the world, and maybe also make Sri Lanka name known around the world in terms of gaming.
Okay, yes. Yeah, so I want to thank Bhagya. Yeah, we actually planning this session to have it in the Game Jam itself, and we discuss and we actually work together with what we are going to discuss, and we are having this one. So thank you very much, Bhagya, yeah, for allocating your valuable time and uh, having answering my calls and all stuff and nagging on these ones, and we need to do a kind of session here. Thank you very much,
Yeah,
and thank you very much on this all your time and allocating this one and having this session. Make it well, and it's really knowledgeable session, and I also learned really a lot, and we like to have you on more sessions too.
okay, we can do that.
And we got Suchintanas. Thank you very much for the session and learned a lot.
Thanks, Vishnu. Yeah,
Okay, so as the one of organizers for the Global Game Jam Sri Lanka, I'm really grateful to you having it here, and I want to thank our people who actually made this possible, Arimac and IMI Games, who actually was with us all the time and making it very possible and giving us all this platform and the things that we actually needed to do the session and make it the game jam really proud. And I want to thank all the jammers who actually there, and we actually had a chance to do all the presentations, and I think you may already have seen their games, so give them a shout out and help them around and play their games and help them. And I want to thank our community partners, Ideamart, RSVP.lk, and Women Techmakers Sri Lanka and DGT Sri Lanka, who actually help us to get the message around and get the community going around this game development for the 3 years now. So it's really amazing to make it 3 years with some hopping around and all the things going around. And yeah, so till next time.
Thanks, Chatu. Thanks for also arranging this. I think the community owes you a big thank you for taking your time and while you're running your own company and taking this time to help the developers in Sri Lanka and trying to keep the spirit alive in Sri Lanka.
And you actually seen the contacts details of the Bhagya, and you can actually have chatted in the Facebook, or he's active in Twitter too, I think. And most of the time he's in Facebook too. And you got a LinkedIn comment. Okay, connect with him and have a chat, and he may be able to give a good help around the things or the business ideas you have. One of the best guys to get advice for myself, for my side. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you all.
Cool.